I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and it is late in Europe in most places, not so late right here in the UK, and I'm sure it's a nice afternoon somewhere in North America or in South America where I expect we're gonna have this game viewed from. So, our first quarterfinal match, Portugal against Catalonia. Let's look at the brackets. In the meantime, hi Elias, hi Nico, hi William. So, Portugal and Catalonia are roughly equal teams, I would say. I would predict that maybe Catalonia is the favorite still. It has the edge because they placed fourth in last year's championship and the championship before that. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. Anyway, and they just somehow find a way to win difficult matches. On the other hand, Portugal won their group. They won against the favorite of their championship group in the group round against Romania. They are generally quite strong, and actually, according to our viewers, I finally got the prediction stats for the championship. I'm going to show you more in detail after the match. But Portugal does appear multiple times in the predictions for top four, and Catalonia surprisingly appears 0 times. So, at least according to my viewers, Catalonia didn't even appear once for predictions for top four. I think this is very unusual, and to me, they're still favorites of the match. But of course, my prediction would be it's going to end with 3-2, favoring a certain, well, one or the other team. Anyway, let's pick a duel to watch. First of all, go through the lineups and try to avoid technical difficulties. Nope, not going to work. I still can't see stuff. That's a very interesting. Right, let's try to do this. Very interesting. I can't seem to be able to get certain things up on the screen, and it's quite weird. Anyway, so the team captain for Portugal is João Margarido on table 1. Then we have with the screen name CC Silva Lopes. With the screen name Rabaco, we have the world number 4 last year in the individual world championship in Essen, Nuno Torres. Then we have with the screen name Osnovac Afonso Cavaco. And with the screen name Glovier, we have Guilherme Neves. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Portuguese is one of the two Romance language I do not speak, but I kind of gather if I just nasalize everything, it's gonna sound close enough. And for Catalonia, we have with the screen name random 21111 Jordi Carlos. With the screen name Danny SVH, we have Danny Garcia. Oh, of course, I forgot to check the name of the player with the screen name Manel, but they have appeared multiple times in previous championships, just not so much in that championship on our stream. With the screen name Charlene, we have Carolina Garcia, whose matches we have watched, and we've also featured the player with the screen name Kasum Lola multiple times as well. I would say that, to me, maybe duel number 3 seems to be the most interesting, just to have a look how the world number 4 is playing. And based on the players' ratings, I expect table number 5 to be just tight. But here, you know, I'll be entirely guided by you guys. This is very unfortunate. Okay. Why can't I get this? Huh. Yeah, sorry about this, guys. So, interestingly, every stream, it's a different technical difficulty every time. In this case, I have just lost my mouse pointer, basically. That's really the only thing here. I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure what to make of this and how to get around that, but we're gonna try. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think we should be fine now. And sorry about the delay. Alrighty. Games have started indeed. Alright, so I guess we're gonna go to Nuno's game. So one of the reasons why this is a solo stream today, because I know that Catalonian players play quite fast, so I won't have enough time to talk to anybody. Like, the game started 2 minutes ago, the opening battle is entirely over, and Black here, showing when they came as world number 4, despite being slightly outtraded on Board Game Arena, they are, in fact, I'd say the winners of this opening battle, just because this lonely blocked meeple over here. So this little guy is never coming back, whereas this could develop into a ruin. This monastery is still relatively safe. Actually, quite an ambitious move over here, and I have to say I rather like it. Because now any attempt to attack this vulnerable square over here by reds will also attack the vulnerable square over here. Interesting move over here. So there's some certain threats from Black to join everything into one big ruin. And I like that. Also, we see a 9-point field brewing over here. There are already 2 cities completed. And immediately, red drops a field meeple. Yeah, Black is actually playing really well. I like this move, both protecting his monastery, pre-building a road, and completing it with extra value. So much so that with this monastery, Black can do so much damage. So first of all, you could place it... Okay. So we will have some theoretical disagreements. I do think that they just missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just a huge number of points. Rather than placing on a 9-point field that will later be contested, the move that I liked a lot was placing this monastery over here and either meepling a road or meepling the monastery and then later taking the road. However, Black is still doing not too shabby. Now unifying these fields and taking a juicy road over here. Reds attacking this city. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are only 4 triangles remaining. So probably Black can calm down about this and try to do something about this square. Block pending, and just in time, Manel gets a fantastic tile to start a new city and then to secure the square. Oh, thank you for letting me know. I was just commenting for a full minute with this graphic still over here. Okay. All right. So It should work now, I think. Well, imagine just back in the day when people had only radios. So that's how it felt. You would just have to imagine all the action. Now I guess you can see something as well. Black still having the hopes of completing a city over here, because there are in fact 2 tiles that fit in this hole right here. So 75% here, and then of course the chances of completing the city are lower because these remaining squares will be further vulnerable, but black is hoping to distract some of red's attention. Well. And now red started attacking this 12-point field, and black blocked this connection over here, which means the only way reds can get onto this big field is to join through the triangle with a road over here. And this will be a huge turn, because not only this will complete the field connection, it will also give red this nice 14-point city, I believe, and a road. So huge turn for red, and I believe despite his loss of the opening battle, red managed to mount a comeback over here. Now it's a good question how black can counter this. There's still field connection options left at the bottom. It does seem like a quite hasty move to me. So black choosing not to fight for the main field but create a 6-point counter field. It does not seem to have that much potential, because a sizable number of city caps has already been played. For example, this is the last simple city cap. There is still the vertical divider, there's a regular divider. But now with this, he chooses to attack the main field. Interesting. Probably trying to create different threats in different places. For example, this city is about to get completed, which could be quite painful for red to some extent. Such an interesting choice over here for black. So you could either take 2 points over here, or you could take 3 points over here and then hope to create a huge ruin. The only thing why this won't work is because there are just so few triangles left to complete the connection. Well, here comes the city for black, and with the city, a glimmer of hope. Because I see that there are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 straight lines remaining, and black could use a straight line over here to claim this piece of land and try to win this piece of land. So at this point, black should think really carefully whether to meeple this monastery. On one hand, it's 6 points. On the other hand, in order to win the game, you do need the meeples for the field battle. And instead of thinking for it for a long time, black decided to think about it for a short time. Well, and it actually seems to work out, because you could put this straight line over here, and then make sure that when red completes the connection, red also completes the monastery. The downside for that is you would make it slightly easier for red to connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because you take away blocking tiles from yourself. So the thing that black could hope for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think there are 8 curves. So this means that there is only 1 curve remaining. And if black were to put a curve like this over here, then there wouldn't be any curves remaining to fit here. The problem with that idea is that there's still 1 monastery with a road in the deck, which actually benefits black greatly, because black will still have the option to connect, and I can't. Like, this is just such a huge mistake. I mean, I'm quite sure about this, because with this move that red played in an instant, red could have blocked the field connection. So black actually, with this move, risky though it may be, latched on to a final opportunity to win this field outright. And it looks like it could work out. Again, also the move over here, I'm not sure what the purpose of that was, but I think there could have been a better idea. Yeah, exactly. With some blocking opportunities on one of these roads. So the field now looks equal, and it seems to me that the monasteries, the incomplete monasteries for 6 points, will not be enough to equalize this game, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because of the 7-point road over here that red got earlier. It will end up being a close game, actually. Yeah, a 3-point difference indeed. Reds managed to win the game, despite being very risky over here by allowing black to connect to the field. And look at that, spending only 3 minutes. So it looks like it might be a very short stream, which is why we're probably going to spend some time at the end either on analysis or just looking at the playoff bracket, which I had up on the screen for that exact purpose. In the meantime, let's see if we have any other games that have finished. I don't know. Do you do anybody who plays slowly? Actually, let's have a look at Guillermo's game over here. Yeah, but I know his opponent also plays fast, and well, 20 tiles remaining. Okay, that's something. Much slower pace, just how we like it. And it looks like a fairly balanced game as well. So red does have a massive disadvantage on the scoreboard, but this ruin just about makes up for it. And then also yellow has some blocked meeples over here, which give them a combined value of 9 points. And red has a 9-point field, is about to complete a monastery, is about to complete a city, and believe it or not, in this situation I would take red rather than yellow. Because at the moment, yellow does have a meeple advantage somehow, and that's not quite understandable to me. It is only temporary, because these guys are likely coming back. This move actually kind of helps. So this was a blocking attempt for the monastery, but really what yellow should be doing is trying to use their temporary meeple advantage. And the reason why I'm saying this move helps rather than disturbs red is because it actually gives red extra value for completing the city. So interestingly, in these situations where you have two features kind of tangled up, like this, it's sometimes better to just leave them alone and try to block one of the meeples. Because the thing is, by placing this tile over here, red created a passive defense for this monastery. Because you see, red completed this city, and then it instantly made it harder for yellow to block the monastery, because this tile over here is taking away many blocking tiles. And you see the temporary meeple advantage has now evaporated, and it looks like this game is going to be very hard for the Portuguese player. In order to win, yellow would definitely need to complete this city. And there are still tiles left to do that. For example, there are still 2 more simple city caps that fit in this hole. And I assume there has to be a large number of city caps that can continue this city. But then there are the heavy features, and the fact that red just made it harder for yellow to complete this city. So the heavy features are this big ruin over here for 10, 12, 14, 15 points, and it's something that yellow now made sure they would never connect to. Oh, but this is kind of understandable. Interestingly, there were no tiles left to connect to the city, because all the triangles with a road like this and all the triple cities with a road had gone out. Now an interesting choice for yellow. Does yellow continue building up a city and hoping to complete it, or just calmly take 4 points, clean up a city cap, and live to see another day? Yellow opts for the latter, with the hopes, I assume, to later fight for this main field through this connection. With any row tile, you get a 6-point field, and with a good run out, you can claim this small 6-point field over here. There's still 1 monastery tile remaining that you can stick in over here and potentially connect 2 meeples at once. And of course, there's still the regular city caps. Now the problem with that is yellow wants to complete a city at some point, or at least yellow wouldn't mind doing that. But by placing this city cap over here, yellow would also be continuing his opponent's city. Continuing his opponent's field, I mean. Not continuing, but merging. And even though this would temporarily take away a couple of points from red, merging this field is actually good for red, just because red is massively ahead. I'm not sure if I should say massively, but ahead, for sure. So Hugo here is saying that in the other games it's also around 20 tiles to finish. So Iberian players always play fast. And you know, if you have match of Iberia versus Iberia. I'm not sure if we're going to hit a record short stream here. And have a look at what Casimlolo did over here. Placing a third meeple on the field, just making sure that there are no shenanigans. So using defensive placement as a way to secure a win in this game, I assume. Because there are just no other entry points to this field. Well, technically there's still this one, but it's quite hard to utilize. You would need back-to-back curves. There are 2 curves remaining. And what you could do, you could take one curve and then connect through another curve. Or you could take one city cap and connect through another city cap. And yellow could hope that they get back-to-back city caps. Okay, so yellow decided to gambit away this field. And just merge the farmers. Make sure that 3 meeples score only 15 points. Because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities. And normally this triangle looks so appealing because you could just place it over here and have a city almost ready. The only problem is, as I said earlier, there are no triangles with a road remaining. There are 2 city caps though. I think a move that red could consider if that yellow could consider if they are trying to win without the field is starting a 6-point city up top and hoping to draw one of the remaining city caps to complete it and drop a field meeple. And apparently they're watching the stream. Well, even if they aren't, I think it's a move that you just have to play. So let's see, does red count tiles? I count tiles, which is why I know that there are no triangles and no triple cities remaining. So this means that nothing will go over here, but the city was dead in any case. And by the way, we still have the 2 simple city caps, which is why exactly this is the move to play. The Portuguese player with some precision over here. Now it's not quite clear what to do with the city cap for red. Maybe just grab a 4-point ruin and run away with it. Red, after all, is still scoring 15 points for this ruin and 18 points for these farmers. Will you look at that? A field meeple for at least 3 points. And possibly more if there's another city cap remaining. So I admit this is something I have not counted. And look at that precision. Well, actually, I think my move was better. My move was better because red would end up with 1 more point. Well, maybe not. It depends. It depends. Well, the thing is, like, red now has 2 ways of gaining 3 points. Either to put over here and add a little city to his little field, or to put it over here and add 3 points to his city and take a meeple back. Now, it looks like this game is going to be rather close because this 6-point city over here actually gave 12 points. Because of these farmers. interestingly, we also know that now this ruin is going to be taken, or this ruin, alternatively. And let's see if that 1 point would have made a difference. Alrighty, this means that we should be updating the score. Thank you for keeping track. So the Portuguese player winning on table number 2. And the Catalan player winning on table number 3. And what's happening over here? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. So much so that I'm not even going to refresh it and just wait for the points to count out. And as you see, red 1 plus 2. So this means that this move over here, the 6-point city, actually brought yellow very close. And that was a possibility for them to equalize the game. I think what... And yellow would have won, in fact, had they gotten... well, had they gotten this city cap to merge these fields. Or had they gotten back-to-back starting tiles to complete another city on their field. So at the end, nobody had an opportunity for 100%. And also we hear that Afonso also won. So Portugal is temporarily leading. And now I'm not sure whom to watch next. So I don't know, who do you want to see? Maybe we could just look the... Oh no, Portugal's not leading anymore because it's 2-2. I guess we have to look at João Margarido's game. In the meantime, I need to remind you to meeple the like button because this is important for the algorithm. I know we weren't to a good start, but I'm pretty sure the stream has become watchable, so please do all the clicking. It is important. Oh, so they're just about to start. Let's actually just go back for a second and double check the results. So Portugal is leading 3-2, or at least my prediction is working so far, insofar as the overall score being 3-2 in somebody's favor. Of course, I'm not sure who the winner is gonna be. I think I'm gonna watch Glovier again. Just because we only looked at the end. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I need to work something over here. All right, let's go. So 3 minutes passed in this game, and well, it's at least reasonable speed. Yellow chose not to complete this block over here. Not sure how I feel about that. But also yellow is betting on this city over here. If they get a tile that fills this hole, they will be able to complete the city quite soon. The problem is that red has a move that gives them excellent probabilities, and it wasn't it. Red, of course, well, not of course, in my view, but yeah, red's needed. I actually am quite sure about this too. Place this city cap over here to block this square, and this square would have been blocked already. I mean, I guess it never hurts to get 4 points. And red is going to complete the block anyway. The block, however, will turn out not to be super important, because this city by yellow will grow into a big, profitable ruin. Red, however, managed to complete an excellent road, managing to score these road points quite efficiently. In Dan Chard's book, one of the quotes from the world champions that I read there stuck in my memory, and that's: don't underestimate the value of roads. Not just road tile, but roads as a point scoring opportunity. Because if you're smart enough, if you manage to find roads that grab a large number of tiles that have already been set on the landscape, you can actually make them just as efficient as cities. A prime example is a ring road. So if you have two curves connected together, you can just place a third curve to make an almost ring shape, and a fourth curve to complete the ring shape. And as a result, with 2 tiles, you gain 4 points, which is 2 points per tile, which is exactly the same as a city. Here comes a nice block. Of course. Excellent move. +2 for red. And there are only 2 tiles remaining to complete this monastery. And not only that, by completing this monastery, if, and that's a big if, yellow gets this tile, they will miss out on value over here, because this is a space for quick points. Let's see what's going on in the chat in the meantime. Who is the person behind Carcassonne, Brazil? What's good about the new search bar? I mean, I tried it, but it takes the exact same number of steps to find somebody. And also, if it's searching the new search bar, it gives you not only players but also games, whereas if you go to the community tab, it gives you only players. So it gives you fewer options than the ones that are most relevant to you. Oh, that's an interesting option. You can click where it says 300,000 games played to instantly go to recent games instead of scrolling down. That's actually a good point. Yeah, thank you for all these ideas. To increase the efficiency of our stream. Very interesting move over here with the city cap by red. How about a field meeple, huh? Just for content. Oh, come on. I mean, of course, like, this move is good just by itself, but for content, that would be so nice. You know, 75% won't hurt. And actually, in exchange, red could do that. Red could drop a curve like this and put a field meeple, and then have 2 curves to connect to the main field. To be honest, it's actually a really decent move. It may look weird, but it really isn't. instead using the city cap as a blocking tile, which is understandable. Not sure if it's the most efficient way to use your meeple majority when you're slightly down in points. But I'm sure they're planning to eventually deploy these meeples. Now it's a good question whether they want to continue the city over here, and they thought better of it, because they could be by accident helping yellow to complete his road. Now red taking 3 points, but these are some dangerous 3 points because you are giving a new field to the player with the meeple advantage, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. On the other hand, I mean, 3 points. When is that ever bad? But it could be so that this was that moment. Because, you know, yellow was doing actually quite well with his meeple disadvantage. The 8-point monastery, the ruin. And yellow's doing very well again. It's a huge tile, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there even is a way to complete yellow's road. And red, in the meantime, is a bit reluctant to complete his city because he really wants to complete the city with a block. But if red completes his city now, there will still be plenty of tiles remaining that fit in this hole. On the other hand, if yellow completes his city first, then red's city will remain vulnerable. And here comes the monastery meeple back, I assume. I do feel indeed that red missed some nice value moves. Possibly, again, both players are playing really quick, but it will still be possible to deploy meeples for red. Well, now, for example, it's such a fantastic tile. Something can be done for sure. Surprisingly, this city is still live, I think. This could be an interesting way to win the game. Obviously, very low probability, but check this out. There's one triangle that fits here. There is one of the tiles that fit here. And so you could make a case for just continuing this stuff, but they chose against it. And instead, they decided to continue their fields and supporting it with a second meeple. Also now, I believe, blocking this meeple over here. So now red's meeples are doing something, scoring 12 points for fields. And well, that's about it. Scoring 12 points for fields. I'm not sure if this will be enough to overcome the 8-point deficit, given the fact that in this mini battle, yellow still has somehow not only the advantage, but also out to take off his meeple back. And now yellow, of course, will complete his city and drop a field meeple, and with that, I think secure the win in the game, showing how to play positions with meeple disadvantages. And the main reason why you have to drop a field meeple there is not to be greedy and humiliate your opponent with 12 more points, but just to make sure that your opponent does not drop a field meeple themselves. Now red merging the fields, banking on the opportunity that yellow would not have enough tiles to build around and connect. But yellow probably doesn't even have to do that. Yellow has just a simple 2 points over here. Although this would leave the city slightly vulnerable to a connection. But maybe they can live with that. An alternative would be taking yet another ruin, preferably over here, because they would be denying the opportunity of red of expanding this ruin further, and only now I notice that all of the 5 simple triangles already have been used in the game. Carcassonne Brazil suggesting that maybe Casumlola is the kind of player that prefers to use many meeple in the very end of the game. Well, the problem with this approach is that sometimes there aren't any features left to score by the end of the game. If they're all taken, all you typically can do is just 3 points per meeple, which is, of course, is not enough to play a meeple advantage. Elias is doubting my comments, probably rightfully so, because I was suggesting running out of meeples 8 turns before the finish, but hear me out. First of all, there's still outs to take this meeple back. Second of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there are still 2 crossroads, that's quite painful. But when you have a city and a road, it's still possible to just continue them and score more points every move, despite not having the meeples to do so. So you see, this would have already have been 6 points. It's like another field. Because I just can't really see where the last meeple is going. Like, where's the better place to deploy the last meeple? And you see yellow choosing not even to complete his road, just to take away the city cap from red. And it looks like red has just no equity here for a long time. This will also mean that this game is headed to, this duel is headed to a decider. In the meantime, we might check has anything else ended. Would appreciate your help over here so that we just don't have to go over. Oh, thank you. Manel already won against world number 4, Nuno Torres. That was fast. Whenever a match ends fast, then it needs to, some analysis usually needs to be done by the losing side. Because you could argue that the winning side was playing fast just to induce the losing side to play fast. And sometimes that works. I know there are several players who are very good at this. Well, let's see. Will Catalonia play 3 years in a row in the semis? Or is Portugal going to get there for the first time in history? I guess I can say that a lot, because the history of online competitive Carcassonne is not that long. We have many things happening first time in history. All other games are still progressing. Believe it or not, I actually love this move over here by Red. It's a bit of a gamble, but that's exactly what Red needs, because it is not only taking 2 points, but it is taking an 8-point city. And there is still one tile, this vertical divider over here, or, you know, vertical city caps, that can take these quick 8 points. And I assume this is what Red is banking on. What this move also does is it creates a field connection opportunity as well. I just believe maybe I just don't think there are tiles left in the deck to complete that connection. Because we know, oh no, never mind, no vertical dividers, no vertical dividers. I guess it was just done for the field connection. Still a good idea. You have to create these opportunities somehow. All right, there we go. And now the Portuguese player defeating Catalonia, and it's 1-1 in the match with Silvia Lopes, I guess. He's winning against the Catalan player. And I know which game we're watching next. The decider between Afonso and Carolina. So Yellow decides that 4 points is going to be enough to deploy a meeple. And it looks like Red did not get any field connection opportunities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there still a curve? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, never mind. I thought that the field connection option at the bottom was still live, but there are no curves remaining. Yeah, you gotta be very careful about situations like this. If you're the player in the lead, you gotta count up the tiles and make sure that you eliminate the possibilities for somebody to score big points. And this includes eliminating any field connection options. But now Yellow decided, rightfully so, that the field connections here and here, even though theoretically possible, they were no longer live because there are no tiles remaining that fit here, there. Which is why Red decides to pre-build a ruin over here and take 2 points. The last move of Yellow is just a matter of aesthetics. Do you want to score 1 road point, 1 city point, or 1 city point over here? Which way do you want to rotate the tile so that it points down like a little tail? Or sideways, just to make this city more awkward shape? And look at that precision. The pre-building the ruin worked, so I do believe that Red managed to maximize their return on points. Red, of course, would have loved to have drawn this tile on their previous move to score the extra 2 points over here, but it was not meant to be. And believe it or not, it turns out that yellow was in fact correct to save his meeple for a bit, because there were still a few tiles, a few quick point tiles remaining. Red, of course, drew them all, but it doesn't change the fact that they were still remaining. So yellow had more patience than I had. Although I believe at that point there were multiple opportunities to win the game. And I'm not sure what's going to be the score. Plus 10, yes. So a confident example in how to handle meeple disadvantage. Just make sure you have expansion opportunities for your blocked features. And drop a field meeple for 3 points. Even though it's only 3 points, just to make sure your opponent does not get to complete a field connection. Alrighty. Let's distract ourselves a little bit from the two highest rated players, just so that we get to watch somebody else. Well, actually, two other higher rated players. Still plenty of tiles remaining here. Opening battle complete, and the game does look roughly equal to me. Well, with some advantage to green, which could be mitigated if somehow red manages to block this precarious meeple over here. Instead goes for the direct value, trying to complete a 6-point city. And then we have a range of options for green. So Carolina cannot attack the city directly. Instead, she goes for another city, which makes this connection a bit more dangerous for red. Because if red completes this connection now and gets to share the juicy 4 points, I'm saying 4 because it's +4, like red has 1 point over here, green has 5 points over here, so it's a 4-point difference. So if red places this tile over here, it will be a move that's worth 4 points. So that's generally one of the ways how I like thinking about moves tactically, sort of the move to move situations. How many points is a move worth? But we see that potentially it would create a larger ruin with an advantage for green, because green is ready to prepare to snatch this ruin from red. However, I would still do it, just because this ruin still has 1, 2 attacking squares. And I think that maybe instead of me confusing colors, now the players have started confusing colors. So instead of making a move that gives him 4 points, red made a move that gives him -2 points. This is, you know, like in chess you have a variant where instead of checkmating your king, you have to lose all your pieces. You actually have to sacrifice all your pieces, and then you win. So possibly the players are thinking that they are playing this kind of variant. Well, I guess I see the idea here, but it's just not going to work, because if this gets blocked, then green is going to have so many extra points. And green already has the extra points. Red, of course, needs to block here somehow, with a field meeple possibly. I like this. And now with this move, a lot of damage could be done. First of all, this block over here, I'm a bit surprised to see that. There were other opportunities like taking 2 points over here, taking 2 points over here. Because now it seems to me that everything could be connected over here. And green might not see her meeples back for a long time. On the other hand, if she manages to drop a city cap here and then quickly complete a city, it will be already worth 10 points. And we will get into a territory where the lead could start getting close to insurmountable. Still 2 tiles before that happens, though. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, that's a great comment. Elias is saying that the move with the quadruple city like this is the anti-someone you know. So just so you know, okay, so someone you know is the screen name of the 2016 world champion in individual Carcassonne World Championship, Vladimir Kovalev. And in the rich Mexican Carcassonne terminology, a someone you know that is named in honor of that player is a tactic when you place a tile in order to connect to your opponent's city, but then instead of connecting, you just start adding tiles to your half of the city. And in this case, it's the opposite because you're adding tiles to the opponent's half of the city. Now, in complex situations, actually Carcassonne can be quite simple. So there are certain rules of thumb that can get you to a decent level, like 90% of the time. Such as, you know, don't leave empty stuff lying around. If you, early in the game, if you have monasteries, try to find a way to meeple a monastery. If you have quick points, get quick points. What else? And then add points to yourself rather than to your opponent. Only add points to your opponents in exceptional circumstances. So I assume this is probably the definition of Red's definition of exceptional circumstances. Well, in the meantime, Green has 2 threats, because if a city cap comes here, the city becomes extra secure. So it is possible that Green will finish 2 of her cities. The most likely outcome is that she'll finish 1, but still, even finishing 1 of these cities could be enough for a large lead. And now also we have a situation where Red needs to block from this side in order to create a connection platform. But on the other hand, Red also needs to continue their road, which is why they chose to place the road over here, although I would have liked it 1 square lower for more security. Actually, no, this is also decent. There are a couple of problems. One is that it allowed the city cap over here, and there is no connection platform for this city. And the completion of this city by Green is basically unacceptable to Red in this situation. If the city gets completed, well, a bunch of good things will need to happen to Red in order to win this game. So first of all, Red would need to draw a city cap quite soon and drop a field meeple over here. This is, by the way, one of those conditions. And then Reds could also hope for a divider and continue her and complete his city over here. But here's the problem. Do you connect? And yes, you do, said Red, hoping to get a tile that gives him the meeple advantage over here in this city. I'm sure Red will now gratefully take this opportunity to block Green City, but she still has 50% over here. And I was saying one thing, that this was also one of Red's potential win conditions, is drawing back-to-back monasteries, or at least being the first one to draw the monastery in these empty squares. I guess you could call it half of an evil hamster. I don't know if Mexico has terminology for these extended monastery-shaped holes. And you look at that level of greed, eh? I like that. Instead of completing his road, he chose to take 3 points over here and then complete this road later. The downside of that is that there are 3 tiles remaining to fit, and actually Red might end up waiting for an extended period of time to get this, but probably Red will get this. Also, Carcassonne, Brazil, early on pointing it out the vulnerability of this square. Well, it's something that red managed to dodge. Dilemma, dilemma. And I think green chooses wisely not to complete her city, not to get 3 points, but just make sure that this sad meeple is blocked. This is one of the reasons why I think passive defense is sometimes overrated. So as a result, red lost his meeple and also didn't get to capitalize on the crossroads and score 2 points. So this is the same situation, but red could have had just 2 points more. Now, I would assume that green can complete her city and meeple the city cap and try to climb all the way down to the big city. It might be tempting to place a divider over here, but that actually would be a massive mistake because that will be an opportunity to give red an 8-point city. The thing about this ruin, it will unlikely to be completed, so it's not going to give red enough points to win. Hi, Joao. Wait, if you're here, do I assume correctly that your match is over? So how did it go? Your duel, I mean. Actually, I'm not sure if we are... Oh yeah, we don't have the up-to-date position because, of course, Guillermo equalized their match, their duel. Okay, 2-0 for João. Which is the Portuguese version of the name Johnny. I think I see a move. It's weird, but I think it's not bad. Given that red needs to risk hard, possibly not the worst move is taking this 5-point road. Because it does not only that, it also actually secures this square a little bit from further attack. And there's, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, like mathematically it's not great. But then at this point you're hoping for anything. Oh, that's also good actually. Starting a city and creating a blocking platform. Green managed to quickly defend. And there are in fact not many tiles that fit here. For example, a triangle with a road. Yes, there are 3 of them, but red needs this tile to connect over here as well. 1, 2, 3. And you know what I would do over here, and yes, do it, do it, do it. This would be the correct move, even though it's sort of sacrificing meeple potentially. But if Carolina places this tile over here, this will give her a 75% chance, well, unless their opponent acts, to connect to this big ruin and equalize it. And at worst, if her opponent does draw the 2 remaining tiles, then at least this move over here will ensure that this city never gets completed. And as a result, red will not get enough points to win. Good point, Elias. Also, given that at the moment green has a 2-0 advantage, it doesn't matter losing the meeple that much. But I think the real thing that green was thinking about was whether she wants to turn this tile that way or the other way. I would probably prefer fewer monastery spots if I were green, because monastery spots, empty monastery spots, represent variance. And variance is something that we do not like as the player who leads. So now Carolina has two good moves. One, which I like, believe it or not, slightly less, as much as I like meepling monasteries, is placing a 7-point meeple monastery over here, which would be vulnerable to an immediate block because there are no starting tiles left. All the 4 city caps with a straight road have gone out. So if green places a tile over here and red gets a city tile, this green meeple will be trapped. So this is why a better move, I think, is placing this 2 points over here, because this would block the blocking square, and actually this would make this city completely unblockable and preserve the full 50% equity for completing this city for green. And Carolina apparently watches the stream. Or, you know, just understands the game situations well. It has to be one or the other. Now we have a dilemma. Do we score 3 points over here, or do we connect to the city? And the answer, of course, you score 3 points because there's still plenty of tile that fits over here. And when you're behind and when you're with one meeple, you could get any quick points you can get. You just have to hustle so hard and just jump on these opportunities to score whenever you can. So take 3 points, then I guess, so I'm just thinking of like potential win conditions for red. Not that I have a horse in the race or anything, I'm kind of just rooting for a good Carcassonne, but it's always interesting to me to think for the player who's behind. Well, first of all, is hoping. Red, of course, hopes that this city's not get completed. Because I think if it gets completed, then I just can't see it happening. Now, the second thing that needs to happen is red needs to win another coin flip. Red needs to be the first for this monastery spot. Because if green its spot is first, that's all she wrote. Preferably, red also needs to draw one of the 2 remaining curves before one of the 3 remaining monasteries, which is actually red is not a favorite to do mathematically. And the reason for that is when red draws a monastery, having this straight line already over here will allow red to immediately get his meeple back when completing this hole. By the way, if red does get a monastery, then not placing it over here is really not an option, because we can't really hope that we're going to get all 3 remaining monasteries. On the other hand, the situation could be such that red might have to start hoping even for that. But the straight road is all the red needs. This already brings the question about this move. Maybe this level of greed was not fully necessary given the long time it takes for red to get back his meeple. And in situations like this, it's not just about if you get back your meeple, it's also about when you get back your meeple. And I believe red is making a mistake with this move. by sacrificing these 3 points. Now this will be a very hard decision for red, and it's really hard to recommend anything because, well, you place it over here, you give your opponent a 3-0 meeple advantage. Can't be good for you, will have a lot of missed value. Which is why, of course, you gotta get these 3 points whenever you can. If you place it over here, well, then you're kind of hoping that your opponent will connect to the city. But that looks even worse. However, you know what? Maybe that's the way to go. Because it gives you insurance. It actually makes it bad for green to join. You know, I would just place it over here. Yeah, well, that's understandable. I would have done the other spot actually. And also think about this. Like, there will be monastery somewhere. And this move was worth 7 points and -1 meeple. And -2 meeples. Net 2 meeples for red. Whether this move would have been 8 points and -1 meeple. By the way, when counting the meeples, let's say the meeple value of a move, I believe it's important to count net meeples. So if you are giving a meeple off to your opponent, it's the same as losing 1 meeple yourself. Well, in the meantime, actually, red's plan worked pretty decently. So red is massively hoping for this thing over here. Green making a big mistake, I think, by not taking 3 points and not protecting her square. Actually, yeah, I would say quite a massive mistake there. So as a result, everything went fine, except that green has 1 point less. I mean, it's not going to matter because this rune is equalized, and green has this monastery which equals this field. However, if red miraculously manages to join this city, then the red of course wins. So I think red did an excellent job in keeping their options alive. This is of course still predicated on red getting this tile instead of green. But check this out. The situation that works out perfectly for red is that they're flipping for just 1 tile. Because if green gets this tile, then green completes her city. If red gets that tile, not only does red take away this tile for green, but red also places it over here at the bottom and uses that very tile to connect to the big ruin. Interesting to point out that red is actually currently at a meeple advantage for the first time in the game, I believe. And it appears to be 3-1 for Portugal. So a bit anticlimactic because I've noticed it only now. But thank you for keeping track of this. So who won? Was it so who actually won? Let's see. Glovier won. The youngster from Portugal. Well, also, by the way, the player, Guilherme, who won their duel against Carcassonne, I'm going to just update real quickly. Also, in our prediction game, bets on Portugal, so that must be their main motivation, because if the Portugal wins the World Championship title, then Guilherme will win the 20-year edition physical Carcassonne set that I'm giving away. We're going to talk about the prediction game a little bit later. In the meantime, it's good that red is thinking. And yes, I'm not sure what red can do. Maybe just score 6 points for a field or something. But this is indeed historical. So Portugal is going to be in the top 4 at the very least for the first time ever. And for the first time ever, Catalonia, despite I would say being the favorites, are not going to participate in the semifinals. And it looks like you, my viewers, are correct. I was so surprised to see that nobody bet on Catalonia to win the championship, or at least to be in the top 4. But it looks like, I don't know, you did some advanced statistical analysis before making your predictions or something like this. Oh, so Nick is saying that you had bet on Catalonia being 4th, but it seemed to me that didn't you update your prediction? Because I have in my record as RCP, Belgium, Japan, Portugal, and for Portugal, 7 predictors put it in top 4. Oh, well, it looks like red indeed went for maximum value, immediate value, and just gaining the 6 points for the field, hoping to get a meeple back later. And green won the coin flip to cash in on the 50% equity that was always around and will probably complete her city. However, she might also consider something else. She might also consider either joining to the city herself or simply closing the city so that red doesn't join. It does seem to me that if she completes the city, then she's not really at risk of losing this game, even if red connects to the city. But again, I do this without counting the points. It's something that it just seems to me to be the case intuitively. Just because there will be some room to deploy the 2 remaining meeples. There is 1 monastery tile for the 5-point monastery. There is 1 straight line for a 5-point road. There are curves, I would assume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 1 curve to score 3 points over here. But it's good that, you know, she's spending time and actually trying to get that 100%, because with this tile in hand, I do believe that there is a 100% move. All right, I should stop counting tiles. Maybe that's more interesting, because at least there's going to be some element of surprise to this game. And so she does opt for the simple move of completing her city, making herself a meeple advantage again. And I would assume securing this ruin, placing this tile over here so that there are no connections. However, this possibly is not necessary because there aren't actually any tiles left that can be used for connection. This is why this move was correct, because this city is now safe. There are no cities with a road, not even a single one. So this big ruin is simply not possible to attack. Now look, another 6-point field for green. That's just greed. I mean, it's the correct move, but the final result is going to be massive. Also, an interesting situation is that somehow Red managed to preserve the advantage in the mini battle over here. This is usually the silver lining of playing with a meeple disadvantage, or especially without meeples for a while, because then it disincentivizes the other player from connecting to your features in a way that gives you both a meeple back. And so Red miraculously managed to preserve the +6 on this road, which of course is going to be of little consolation for the result of this duel, but a big consolation for the result of this duel will be the result of this match, because Red will lose this, giving Catalonia a 2nd point, but Portugal already has 3 points, and that's all that is needed to make my initial prediction for the match correct. I mean, I know it's not difficult to make a prediction that the match is going to end 3-2. Most matches end 3-2, but we're going to look at that a little bit later. Oh, we do have quite a lot of viewers and a bit not the same number of likes. By the way, I see maybe a couple of you are commenting for the first time. I don't know if you were watching my streams before, if you're just commenting for the first time or watching for the first time. If you are interested in seeing something like that, again, in order to get notification and give this channel and and the representation of competitive Carcassonne on the web a little boost, do place a big fat farmer on that subscribe button. You could place a slim farmer there as well, or you could just click it if you're not into metaphors, because it does help the algorithm. And of course, some quick points on the like button. So Red will get 5 points for the monastery right over here. It's just because there isn't anything better to do. Of course, should consider all the options. I'm not sure if Red even knows the result yet. So at least when I play, well, maybe that's because when I'm a team captain, I try to kind of watch the other games as well, see where we're at. But I know some players find it more convenient not knowing what the result is, because if they know that their game is a decider, they say they feel too much pressure, or that they know that their game is not a decider, then they start playing too loosely. This actually happened in one of Romania's games in the group stage. But we already talked about this on stream with Bogdan Korkan a little bit. So on the last move, both players exchange with 5-point features. And because we know the winner of this game, I'm just going to refresh to see the score. Okay. I have to be, I'm very surprised that it was this close. Why did I think it wasn't this close? I thought that like green had this in the bag. With this monastery and the leadership on the scoreboard and the city. Well, I guess we might have missed the moment that red scored 18 points with these field meeples. Will you look at that? Oh, you know what? Red had a 50%er here. Check this out. Anyway, yeah, I know it's like not the most important part, but imagine if instead of placing this over here, red could have placed this tile over here to kill this monastery spot, and then hope for a coin flip. Hope that green would get the monastery so that she could score only 4 points, and red would get the road so red could score 5 points. And in that case, the game would have been tied, but because green was the first to play, green would have lost the duel. So it seems to me that with this move, you see seemingly useless tile, it actually wasn't that useless. Red could have increased their winning chances from 0% to 50%. Not bad. Maybe red was thinking along the lines as I did, instead of counting up the points, just assuming that green is super far ahead. But it turned out that not really. This mini battle of roads and the spare 6 points actually made the game much closer. In any case, this was actually quite fascinating to watch. I have to congratulate Team Portugal on the amazing historical achievement of not only playing in the semifinals, but also guaranteeing that they get to play at least 2 matches, so they have a shot for at least a third. Also, in their next match, and we're about to look at the bracket again, Portugal is going to place either Belgium or China, and both teams will be first-timers in the semifinal, which means that in the finals, we're also going to have a first-timer. Alrighty. The fat meeple on the subscribe button, please, if that was the question. I'm just reading all the chats, all the messages. No, I'm gonna update the score first. Yeah, I guess that's the, well, lots of downside of doing this without a guest, because there's just so many things to follow. Well, yeah, I've got to thank Catalonia for participating in the tournament and making so much good content for this channel. That's just gold. And I'm pretty sure we're going to watch at least one more game with Portugal's participation on this channel as well. Alrighty, we're going to talk a little bit after that. We're going to look at the bracket and look at your predictions. Yeah, I guess we're all still discussing the end game. I do believe that the triangle works. The move that I was suggesting, of course, it's easier to say after you've seen all the tiles. Counting the tiles is something that you have to do within the game. Although I honestly do not think that is the hardest part. I know also like everybody's been asking for tips and for a video, which of course is coming at some point after the championship. Just the championship stream is more important. But I really do not think that counting tiles is the main part of the game, which is also I'm quite lenient about. Like, I don't care that much if people use scripts against me. And I know they do. You can see that in arena sometimes. If I have enough time, I'm gonna know the tiles anyway. Now, in a blitz format, of course, it matters when you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a move. It's of course is not enough to play quality Carcassonne. Alrighty, championship bracket first. So, Catalonia lost against Portugal, which is why Portugal is going to face either China or Belgium. Then we're going to have Japan versus Chile and United States versus RCP. Not sure what's going to happen there. It is possible they're going to have a Japan RCP matchup because despite the US's blowout win against Mexico, and I believe this was the most convincing result in the entire tournament, because there was another match which went 5-0, but in that the winning side won 10 games and the losing side lost 2 games. This is where the losing side won only 1 game. I wonder if we ever had a 5-0 and also a 10-0. That would be an interesting thing to watch. And also actually not against a weak team at all. Still, it will be very hard for US against the RCP. And despite their accomplishment, it will be very hard for Chile against Japan. But, anything can happen more or less. So you're going to have some kind of combination over here. And let's look if it matches your predictions. So I'm going to just share one more window, I guess. I hope I don't reveal anything too secret. Alrighty. That's very interesting. It looks like I can't really share that kind of window now. This is very interesting. I guess I'm just might have to do it verbally. Yeah. Just my software can't find the prediction at all. I guess it just wants to keep them secret. Anyway. So everybody seems to still be betting on Japan. I'm just going to tell you how it is, and then maybe I'll do the visuals a little bit later. So just to have some symmetry, we have technical difficulties at the start and technical difficulties at the end as well, for a sense of cyclicity. I guess that's the word, with 2 Y's. So first of all, actually, we got quite a lot of predictions. We got 23 predictions. Most of them, 16 of them, coming during or shortly after round 7. Well, during round 7, basically. And the others made in the previous rounds. So if Portugal does win the World Championship, then Glovier, who not only won the decider for Portugal, but also was the only person to bet on the Portugal to win the championship, of course, will win the prediction game. But then 2 people bet on Belgium, 3 people bet on China, 6 people bet on RCP, and 8 people bet on Japan. And 1 person each bet on Netherlands, Mexico, and Romania, but these 3 teams are no longer able to claim the title. Now, when it comes to betting on teams being in the top 4, Japan is still in the massive lead, and actually every single prediction included Japan. Yeah, every single one. So 16 people bet on RCP being somewhere in the top four, 9 people bet on China, 7 on Portugal, 10 on Belgium, including 2 who were thinking that Belgium would win the title, and 10 people bet on the Netherlands, but it didn't quite work out because Catalonia took care of that last time. We watched that stream. 4 people bet on Romania, 2 people bet on Mexico, 2 people bet on the United States, and then 2 people bet on Brazil, which is no longer participating, and 1 person each bet on Taiwan, Latvia, Germany, and the UK, which are no longer participating either. So far, the predictions have been working out for the most part. Will we indeed see a Japan-China finals? Possibly, possibly not. We'll find out tomorrow when, this time with a special guest, because for such an important match, I don't think if I can do it alone. There will be a special guest tomorrow. For Belgium versus China, the stream is an 11:50 Universal Coordinated Time. I think that's what it stands for, UCD. Anyway, that's 1 hour before London, 2 hours before Central Europe, and 3 hours before Eastern Europe. Alrighty, let me just check out if anybody has any questions or comments. And before that, and if not, we're gonna start wrapping up. So everybody's discussing the time format. I'm a huge advocate for 22 minutes over 15 minutes. Like, if you want a Carcassonne to be a serious game, I mean, it has to be that way. And I personally have been able to play better with 22 minutes, incomparably. And I think I would do even better with more time, but 24 minutes is probably enough for practical reasons, because we want for the matches to end, for them not to be too exhausting. As a streamer, I would have loved for matches to be longer, just so that I can also have a look at your comments and talk to my special guests. And we do not always have time to do that. Oh, luckily we have China tomorrow, which means we'll be able to discuss all kinds of things properly, because China, they are playing for... They're taking their time. Oh, they're taking their sweet, sweet time. And it has been working out for them in this championship. Actually, okay, Mexican saying that despite losing 1-10 yesterday, you also have 10-1 wins in your biography. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So there's some symmetry there. I see people already start to root for Chile against Japan. Yeah, I hope you enjoy watching that match. I assume they're going to be Spanish-speaking streams, although I didn't really see any links. Anyway, if they are, I'm going to just drop them in the chat real quick. No, interestingly, yeah. Why is nobody gonna stream that? That's so unfortunate. At least according to the Carcassonne Cat website. I don't know, if anybody interested, we might do an analysis post factum. Alright, Nico saying that Raf and Nico are playing slow enough. Yes, great, we appreciate that. We do remember the comeback against, I think there was the Catalan player in one of the group rounds. There's Carcassonne Brazil saying that I admire a lot of players with this very nice usage of the clock, and I do too indeed. Elias, yes, go for it, absolutely, because I am going to bed. Believe it or not, I do sleep occasionally, even though I do not have work tomorrow. Sleep is good for you, but if you are in a time zone that allows to do that, it would be great to watch a stream of Chile versus Japan when I wake up. Time to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon, to be more exact, tomorrow, 11:50 UCT, China versus Belgium, with a special guest. Good night, Europeans. Have a good evening, Western Hemispherians.